Hello everyone, thank you for watching Wasabi Aquarium channel. In this video, we will be discussing how to change water according to seasons, winter edition. On the water changing method according to seasons, we actually discussed on how to change water and what points to be careful on when changing water in the summertime for our previous video. This video is the winter edition, so we will be talking about the points to be cautious of and how to change water efficiently in this season when the tap water becomes extremely cold. It is October right now, and this season's tap water is perfect right now. However, I suppose people living in cold areas might have tap water become more and more colder. If you live in mainland Japan and further south, I think the tap water is around 25 degrees Celsius on average. Therefore, you can directly change water. It is easy to change water in this season. For these reasons, this season, October, is said to be the best season to start up a planted aquarium. When starting up and setting up a planted aquarium, frequent water change is definitely necessary. So if the tap water temperature and the temperature inside the planted aquarium matches when changing water, it will make changing water drastically easier. I think it is quite rational to set up a planted aquarium in this season. However, from November and then on, the temperature will go down, thus making the tap water temperature drop. I looked this up a little. For example, for the tap water temperature in Tokyo, the October average is around 21 degrees Celsius. Of course, this is the day's average, so the night time is likely to be lower. Still, the average is around 21 degrees Celsius. Then in November, the average dropped to 16 degrees. The December average is 11 degrees, and by January, it becomes 9 degrees, finally dropping to a single-digit temperature. For these reasons, if not prevented properly, the water change will be a mess. The worst thing that you must not do during water change is give damage to the aquatic plants that are caused by temperature change. This will lead to the worst scenario. During summer, the water temperature can go up to around 35 degrees, making it feel like warm water when you touch it. If you change the water with water temperature as such, the temperature of the planted aquarium will rise immediately. In reverse, tap water is cold during winter, leading the water temperature of the planted aquarium to drop immediately. Of course, in these situations, it is bad for the fish and shrimp inside the aquarium. We can't forget it is no good for the aquatic plants, and the bacteria that we can't see receive extremely harsh damage as well. This will lead to the fish having spot disease or make the aquatic plants pointy, or by the bacteria dying, oil film will occur and the water may become cloudy. There will be many problems as such. Therefore, how much you match the temperature of the planted aquarium and the water you use for water change will be important. Especially during the winter time, you will need to do this task thoroughly. In this video, I will explain how to adjust the temperature of tap water. There are 3 methods. First of all, changing water with warm water. Second, using a heater for a planted aquarium. Finally, leaving it in a room with a heater. I will elaborate on these 3 points. There is a reason why I set this in this order. I've explained this in the order I recommend the method. Now I will elaborate and explain in order. First is changing water in warm water. This is the most recommended method. The very best is using the combination faucet. You can let out water from both the water and hot water faucet, and the liquid will come out fine. If you mix the water and hot water, you can get water that is around 24 to 25 degrees, which is appropriate. However, for this point, you can't do this if you have a combination faucet, but if you don't, you will have to do this separately and mix it. You can put cold water in a bucket first and then add hot water next, or vice versa. Put hot water in first and then lower the temperature with cold water. Either way, you can create a water temperature similar to the planted aquarium, and this is the best method. However, if you have a large planted aquarium such as 90 centimeters, 120 centimeters, or 180 centimeters, you will have to repeat putting cold water and hot water in the bucket and mixing it. So, if you have a large planted aquarium, I think it is better if you use a combination faucet. This is just an example, but occasionally there is a combination faucet where the washing machine is. Connecting a water hose there and bringing the water to the planted aquarium is the best method for people with large planted aquariums. On the other hand, if you have a 60 centimeter planted aquarium, I don't think it would be too much hassle to put the cold water and hot water separately in the bucket and mixing it, so I think this method is good. Next is the second method, which is using a heater for planted aquariums. This method is for planted aquariums size 60 centimeters and below. There are some issues such as a heater with a large wattage being necessary for large planted aquariums, so this method is definite for aquariums size 60 centimeters and below. First, put tap water inside the bucket, and then put the heater for planted aquariums inside. For this, it doesn't matter if it's an auto heater or a temperature adjustable one. If you set the temperature here, you will get water with the exact temperature, so I think this is the most certain way. You can use a thermometer for the method where you mix the cold water with hot water with a bucket, but I think it is easier if you use a heater and then raise the temperature for sure. The reason why I place this method as second is because you will have to prepare a separate heater, which will cause an expense. However, this is a very accurate method, so it is highly recommended as well. This method requires a lot of time since water gets heated from a completely cold state. It also is quite costly in the sense of electricity fees as well. So, if you use this method, it is good if you mix a little bit of warm water beforehand, making the water just slightly colder than the water inside the aquarium. This will save time and you don't need to use too much electricity. If you want to create water with an accurate temperature, this method is best for you. Next is the third method, which is leaving the water inside a heated room. In terms of easiness, this method is probably the easiest out of 3 methods I introduced. You won't need any equipment since you're just leaving the water that you put in a bucket in a room and such. However, there is the issue that you will have to keep the room heater on for a long time. The room heater will only raise the temperature to around the room temperature, so I think this will be a problem. Also, this will require a lot of time. If you start from water, it will become a disaster. This method is easy, but it will take a lot of time, and you will have to leave the bucket in the room at all times, which will take up space. However, if you happen to have a very small aquarium, maybe this method won't be so bad. If there isn't so much water to leave around, the water will warm up relatively quickly. If you have a small aquarium and don't need a lot of water, I think you can use this method. With these 3 methods I introduced, I think you can change the water of the planted aquarium without damaging the environment of the planted aquarium. Also, the temperature of the tap water will be the lowest in the early morning and late evening, so it's better to change water in the daytime when the water temperature is relatively high. So I think it is good if you think about the time period as well when changing water. As for tools that will make changing water easier, we actually discussed this in the summer edition of the Changing Water According to Seasons installment video. I will put a summarized version at the end of this video, so I think you can watch useful tools as well. First is this. This is the water changing hose we use in our shop. The hardness is great. You can smash the hose with your finger, like so, when cleaning the substrate and soil, and it is a really sensible softness where you can just adjust the water flow amount. It lasts for a very long time and it doesn't pair, so we mainly use this in the shop. When doing so, this is a blue hose clip that you can use to fix the hose on the aquarium. By fixing it like so, you can use your hand freely, and you can wipe the glass sides as you change the water or use it to adjust the water. Or in reverse, when you are sucking up the water, you can use to fix it and such, so it is quite useful. We use this hose clip as well as all time. Next is this. This really is a staple item, but this is the Water Crop Pro Hose Extra. This is very useful as well. As for the previous hose, you have to suck with your mouth to suck up water, but with this product you can simply put the hose in the water and press the button here to prime pump. I know many of you have used this for a long time, but since this is highly useful, I recommend that you use this once if you don't have it. For this Pro Hose, you don't have to stick your hand deep inside the planted aquarium, so even if the water is full to a high level, you can change the water without any spillage. In this sense as well, this is useful. For the pink hose I previously introduced and this Pro hose, I think it is good to use them separately per occasion. The last thing I am introducing is the Aquarium starter. I think many of you use an external filter for your planted aquarium. Sometimes you might mess when changing the water and there might not be any movement even after plugging the cord back in. This will make you have to prime pump the water. In this situation, for example, there is a lily type glass pipe right here. If you press this here like so, you can easily prime pump water. You don't have to suck up the water with your mouth to prime pump. When you prime pump with an external filter, you might often accidentally drink the water. You might think, well, I think it is okay, and suck up water all at once, making the water go all at once like drowning. For those situations, I think it is safe to have something like this. Well, if you are seasoned, I don't think this kind of stuff won't happen, but if you are a beginner, sometimes this happens, so I think it is extremely safe to have something like this. I think this is an extremely good product. I will put a link in the description box for the tools I used, so if you are interested, please check them out. So how was the video? In this video, I explained what to be careful about when changing water in the winter. If you put cold water for a third or half of the aquarium at once, the temperature will drop, and it will make cyanobacteria come out easier. Cyanobacteria is especially closely related to bacteria, so dropping the temperature drastically will create an environment where cyanobacteria comes out easier. Please match the temperature before changing the water in the winter time. As for changing water, we have discussed this in detail for our previous videos as well. I've put a link down in our description box below, so please check it out if you are interested. And if you do have any questions about water change or points that you want an explanation on, please write it down in the comment section below. We will not be able to answer the questions in the comments, but if there seems to be an increase in similar questions, we will create a new explanation video. If this video was helpful, it will make us happy if you subscribe to the Wasabi Aquarium channel. We will continue creating videos to improve the environment of your planted aquarium and videos to solve your problems. We will be happy if you continuously watch our videos. I will end this video right here. Thank you for watching.